live with immigration information for you. I see a lot of you are now joining, and it's only a half an hour session, so we're only here for a half an hour trying to answer your questions. So please go ahead and write your questions that you have in the comment section. And we are on 3 platforms, just in case you have trouble connecting to any. We're on TikTok, and you can hashtag GailLaw on TikTok or go to My U.S. Immigration Lawyer. And we are on YouTube, and we are on a Facebook group page. And the Facebook group page is My U.S. Immigration Lawyer. And today we are going to talk about the help. We're going to give you some help. But the topic this afternoon is help. Why is my immigration case taking so long? And I know a lot of you who have cases are, in this predicament, in this situation where you're wondering, why is it taking so long? Ironically, there was an article published this week, and you can find this on my Facebook page. And the article talked about the backlog. And the immigration backlog, just so you know that you are not alone, there are others that are in this backlog with you. The immigration backlog just hit 8.8 million. Let me repeat that. 8.8 million immigration cases outstanding. And that number has quadrupled in the past few years. And a lot of this is due to the Trump administration policy. The Trump administration put some policies in place that delayed cases, required interviews, and so forth. So I do see the questions coming in. Keep the questions coming in. I will go back and review the questions. But let's talk a little bit while everybody is logging in about this 8.8 million backlog currently at immigration. And just so you have an idea, in 2010, the backlog was only 2 million. And in 2018, the backlog was about 5 million. And now 2022, the backlog is 8.8, nearly 9 million cases outstanding. A large part of the case are people trying to get a green card, permanent resident status. We have about 800,000 of those cases outstanding. If you're simply trying to renew your green card or get a replacement green card, there are nearly 900,000 cases outstanding to just renew a green card. And if you check immigration's website, I think they're taking about 18 months to simply renew a green card. Travel document, if you're waiting for your travel authorization, they have about 530,000 of those cases outstanding. So you're not alone. So we're going to talk about backlogs. And, there are 2 types of backlogs, right? Or delays. I'm using the word backlog, but that's a fancy word for just saying delayed. Why is your case so delayed? Well, there's a natural delay. So certain cases are naturally delayed because of the preference. It's a family preference category. For example, a U.S. citizen sponsoring a sibling is a 14-year backlog. That's a natural delay because there's very limited amount of visas. There are also cases outside of normal processing, which is what we're talking about, which are these 8.8 million cases that are currently outstanding with immigration. And these cases are outside of normal processing because these are not the normal times. And there are some things you can do. You can submit an e-inquiry to immigration, and we will go into that in a little bit. Again, if you are enjoying, if you like the information that you're getting, go ahead and tap your screen, go ahead and go ahead and share this live video on your Facebook feed, on your TikTok feed, share it on your YouTube so your friends can also get this useful information. So I'm gonna pause there for a little bit. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the backlog. If you're now joining, the topic that we're talking about today is help. Why is my immigration case taking so long? And we're talking about an article that was just released this week stating that the immigration backlog is currently 8.8 million cases. So we will go ahead and take some of our questions. Good afternoon to you. And let's see, what is the reason for I-130, I-45 denial? Can I resubmit? If your I-130 I-130, I-45, and that's because you have a family-based petition seeking a green card was denied, then you would have received a reason. Immigration doesn't deny a case without issuing you an explanation. So if you maybe checked online and so it was denied, but you never got a letter from immigration explaining why they denied it, you can call immigration and ask them to resend you a letter. Maybe you moved and that's why you did not get the letter explaining the reason for the denial. The next question, can you file for a green card with the marriage certificate you get on the day of the wedding? Be very careful because when you get married, there are two types. There's a marriage certificate, which is like a ceremonial certificate that you can frame, and there's the actual legal marriage certificate. You have to file with the actual legal marriage certificate, okay? So not the one that you frame, but you have to file with the actual legal certificate that that the clerk of court issues to you, okay? Wait on the mail. Yes, you have to wait in the mail for the actual legal marriage certificate that is certified. The certified marriage certificate. That's the one you have to file with immigration. And you know, you want to make sure when you're filing an immigration petition that you file with the correct documents that are legally required under the law. Because if you don't, immigration can just deny your case because the burden is on you. The burden is on you, the petitioner beneficiary, to establish that you are eligible for the benefit. And if you don't submit the right documents, they don't necessarily have to ask you for it. If you don't submit it, they can always deny your case, okay? And sometimes they'll even keep the fees. TPS for El Salvador, no, our office is not currently handling any TPS cases. And how can I get in touch with you? Well, you can text our office, call or text our office, 407-292-7730. If you send a text to that number, we will reply to you. You can also hit us up on WhatsApp, 407-353-1363. If you prefer to email, you can send us an email, gail@GailLaw.com. That's GAIL@GAILLAW.com. You can go to our website, also GailLaw.com, and you can get all that information there. We are very easy to get in touch with. U.S. citizen, married, and undocumented, what are the steps to get a green card? That will require a consultation because in general, it depends on how when you say undocumented, that word is can be defined in many ways. So if you're undocumented, what we want to know is the manner of entry and how many attempted unlawful entries. Depending on that answer, you may be eligible for something called a provisional waiver, but there are many steps to that process, but we have to make sure you're eligible. We'd be more than happy to set a free consultation. Our office does conduct free phone consultations with exceptions. The only exceptions where it's not free is if you have a prior filing, you have a prior arrest, or a prior immigration court case or a prior immigration case, then our consultation is $100. The next question, I sent NVC my naturalization certificate to update my case category. I was advised that case is being, I hope it was a copy of your certificate of naturalization and not an original. You never want to submit an original document to immigration because you actually have to file and get that back. Immigration does not require originals. You can send a photocopy. Only at an interview or an in-person visit to the immigration office do you need to take an original for inspection, okay? But never send an original document to immigration because you will not get it back. Under administrative processing. If a case is under administrative processing, I'm assuming, I don't know if that's for a green card or if that's court, because that term is used in both arenas. But if you're filing for a permanent residency or a green card in the U.S. and your case is under administrative processing, or your case is at the embassy, and it's under administrative processing, that's just a fancy word for saying your case is under review. Either documents are under review, the marriage is under review, the relationship is under review. It just means immigration is reviewing something in the case, a certain fact in the case, okay? Is it true USCIS now sends you your permanent resident card without an interview? Yes, in certain cases, and that's under a new policy from the Biden administration. Under the Trump administration, all cases had to be interviewed, and that's what contributed to the backlog. As I mentioned earlier, the immigration backlog is 8.8, Did I say million or billion? Let me make sure I'm saying it right. 8.8 million cases that are currently backlogged, and that is because of the Trump administration policy of every case has to have an interview. Biden administration only changed that policy a few months ago, and since they've changed the policy, certain cases, if enough evidence is submitted to prove that the marriage is good faith based on love, immigration will waive the interview, but not without seeing enough evidence to prove that relationship. But yes, you can get approved without an interview. What evidence should I submit to prove a bona fide marriage? Well, I tell people it's case by case. There's not one specific laundry list that works for each relationship. Again, if you contact our office, if you have an existing case, then we can, it's $100 for the consultation. If it's a new case and our office is hired, we would gather some, specific information about you and your relationship and be more than happy to tell you what type of documents to submit. Again, you are in a live session with Immigration Attorney Gail Seeram, been practicing immigration law for 22 years. If you are happy with what you're seeing, tap your screen, send us some likes, send us some love, share what you are seeing here with your friends on your page. Again, we're here every Wednesday from 1 to 1:30, answering your immigration questions. How long does it take a VAWA to get approved? VAWA is the Violence Against Women Act. To be honest, I have some case pending 2-3 years, so it is taking some time, okay? Again, that's what our topic is today. Why is my case taking so long? We will shortly go through some tips for how you can follow up on your case. But since you're specifically asking about the Violence Against Women Act, in the article that I'm citing to, it actually lists specific delays and how many petitions are pending. So for that particular petition, which is the battered spouse petition, right now I can tell you specifically how many of those are pending. 77,221 of those VAWA petitions are currently pending. So that's 77,000. And listen to this amazing statistics. Just 5 years ago, there were 16,000 petitions pending. So the Violence Against Women Act petitions or special immigrant petitions went from about 17,000 to 77,000 in just 5 years. And again, that's why there's a backlog, my friend, who's asking about why is her VAWA taking so long. Because that petition, the amount of petitions just increased. And a lot of those, those 77,000, a lot of those are fraudulent. Not fraudulent, but a lot of those don't, well, some of them are fraudulent. They're lying about being battered, but some of those petitions don't meet the legal standard. And it takes time for immigration to go through each case, go through the evidence presented, and to determine whether those petitions meet a legal standard. Remember, I tell people all the time, just because you file an immigration petition doesn't mean that you're going to be approved and get that benefit. For each benefit you're filing for, there is a legal standard that needs to be met. There's a legal standard provided in the regulations, the procedures, and the Immigration and Nationality Act. So you have to provide the right documents. How long is adjustment of status taken? Okay, adjustment of status if in the U.S. is taken about 9 to 12 months right now. Bear with me as I am scrolling up through the questions. A lot of questions coming through on TikTok, and I want to make sure I don't miss any. The screen is just quite small here at the bottom. Okay, so let's go through this. I sent embassy my certificate. I had mentioned do not send your original certificate. Working from Guyana. Do you know when TPS applications will open? I don't know. We're handling TPS at this time. What happens after an I-130 application has been approved? It depends if the applicant is outside of the United States and you have to wait for the visa to be available. Okay, if an I-130 has been approved, it just means that you prove the relationship, whether it was a marital relationship or whether it was a family relationship. It means that you prove the relationship. You have to wait for the visa to be available. If you're in the U.S. and the I-130 was approved and you're the spouse of a citizen, child under 21 of U.S. citizen, a parent of U.S. citizen, then you could proceed to the next step and file for your green card, okay? The next question here After I submit all the documents, including medical through child, how long does it take? 9 to 12 months if you're a parent in the U.S. trying to get your permanent residency through a child that's over 21 here in the U.S. How long spouse petition? I started at 10 months ago. About 9 to 12 months. It's taken about 9 to 12 months. Is it true USC is now? Yep, it's true. There, you can get approved without an interview. In terms of bona fide marriage as a case-specific question, we'd be more than happy to help you gather and submit those documents to immigration. Thank you for that rose there, my friend Julia. I am a green card holder since 2010. My daughter is on DACA. I applied 2019, got letters of approval. Okay, you may want to give me a call there, Merlene Buckley, because green card holder since 2010, if your daughter's on DACA and if your daughter's already over 21 and overstayed, then you as a green card holder would not be able to file for her unless that petition was filed before April 30th, 2001. So it doesn't matter you got a letter of approval, she may not be eligible to get the green card, okay? Again, free consultation with certain exceptions. Call us 407-292-7730. Call or text us at that number or WhatsApp 407-353-1363. When does your DS-260 form expire? The information is normally good for 1 year. The DS-260 is the immigrant visa application that you fill out at the visa center if you're processing from outside the U.S. If you filled it out for more than a year and it's taken some time to get the embassy interview, then the embassy will request for you to sign back in online and update the information, okay? Can I apply for an entertainment visa while visiting the U.S.? You could apply, but you're probably not going to get a decision within that 6-month period. So you could apply, but you're probably going to have to leave. I wouldn't advise you to overstay, and you could wait for the decision back home. I submitted all the documents, including medical, parents adjusting. How long does it take? Again, parent of a U.S. citizen child over 21 is about 9 to 12 months. Again, every case is different, but again, that's what we're talking about. 8.8 million cases backlogged right now. Oh, you filed the wrong application, I-90 instead of I-751. That happens a lot. If you have a 2-year green card, you do not file an I-90. If you have a 2-year green card, you have to file form I-751. So that is fine. You can still file your form I-751. We can set a consultation to go through that with you. You would be eligible for a free consultation. But now that you're filing late, that's okay. You can attach the I-90 receipt and write a letter to immigration explaining that you're filing late because you filed the wrong form. Now remember, when you're filing form I-751, you could file it jointly with your spouse or you could file it on your own. Oh, okay. My friend on YouTube, the question disappeared. If you can, oh, there it goes. Okay, I found my citizenship. I had my interview, case was approved. She just needs additional information for swearing me, and I haven't heard anything since in September. Okay, so that's a good question. So when you have your citizenship, from the date of your interview, the officer has 120 days to make a decision. So you have 120 days to wait for that officer to send you something. They have a 120-day period. So if they need something else, probably going to send you a request for evidence, and then you have to submit those documents to them. But they have 120 days to correspond with you and to make a decision on your case. So you're still within normal processing time. Okay. You can, though, my friend on YouTube, you can do an online inquiry, and we could talk about this because I was going to share this with you. You can go, and we're done. I'm going to put all these links on my Facebook group page, and that's the Facebook group, My U.S. Immigration Lawyer. And you could go follow this link, egov.uscis.gov/e-request. And that's an online form that you could complete with USCIS. You will need your receipt number, your name, your date of birth, your address, and you can file that petition. You could put that information in and say you have the interview, you're waiting on a request for evidence. And that message should be sent to the local office, to that officer. But again, that officer does have 120 days from the date of your citizenship interview to make a decision, okay? How long does it take to process a petition for a parent. If not only a U.S. citizen could file for a parent. I had a green card holder this week think that she could file for a parent. To file for a parent, you have to be a U.S. citizen. If you are a U.S. citizen filing for a parent, you could file for a parent outside of the U.S. or inside the U.S. Both process take about 1 year. Do you file divorce papers? No, unfortunately, our practice is limited to immigration law. We only practice immigration law. And no, Kim, we do not handle asylum cases. And again, an I-130 that is approved means you've approved the relationship, but you still may have to wait for the visa, okay? Started my spouse petition in February, and July changed to citizenship. I'm not understanding that question. If you can be a little bit more specific. What number to call? I'll give you the number again. It's 407. And you can text this number or call this number, okay? 407-292-7730. Now, if you are abroad and you want to call us on WhatsApp, the WhatsApp number is 407-353-1363. Can we request immigration judge to get individual hearing early? Yes, you can. And, you know, the immigration court's a whole other story. The 8.8 million I quoted immigration backlog, that is what U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. That's the part of Department of Homeland Security. That's where you file forms, like you file your I-130. So for the court, if you're in court, you could write a motion to the judge, and you have to send a copy to the government attorney asking to move up or expedite your individual hearing. So yes, that can be done. After setting a medical exam, how long now for a green card? Well, the medical is supposed to go with all of the petitions, but if you were asked to set the medical in after, again, you know, it can take anywhere from 9 to 12 months. I have a question about the I-601A. That is a provisional waiver. And in the article that I'm citing, it's not telling you how slow or fast immigration is working. What it's telling you is how many cases are currently pending. So let's talk about the I-601A. I-601A right now, there are 106,000 of those cases pending. So 5 years ago, in 2016, there were only 20,000 cases. So the I-601A, which is the provisional waiver for your unlawful presence here, 5 years ago, there were only 20,000 cases pending. Now you have 106,000 cases, okay? That is an increase of nearly 80,000 cases in 5 years. So that gives you an indication of, you know, it's not, you know, and immigration did have hiring freezes during COVID. So they're not necessarily hiring more staff, but they're getting more petitions. And these, I know for me, when we send in a waiver petition, we're sending in a medium-sized box. So there's a lot of documents that these officers have to review. So I would ask that you remain, it's filed, it's there. Someone will look at it. It may take some time, but, you know, give the agency time. Don't rush them because that's why I wanted to talk about this backlog. Because in a lot of these categories, in over 5 years, they've seen 100 to 200 more cases added on for each particular category. Again, if you like what you're seeing, we want to see those hearts, we want to see the likes, we want to see the thumbs up, and we want to see the share. My husband has an ICE hold and has a visa. What can he do to not get deported? I would need a lot more information on that question. If he has an ICE hold, it could be because he has a criminal history or he's here unlawfully. ICE would put a hold if you're a person of interest. So whenever someone has an ICE hold, it's because you're a person of interest to immigration, because you don't have legal status here or they have the grounds to deport you. So that's what it means when you have an ICE hold, okay? And I'm going to scroll through these TikTok questions. And we are also on a Facebook group page, My U.S. Immigration Lawyer. When a mother filed for her son, age 47, how long does it take? It depends if the mother is a U.S. citizen or if the mother is a permanent resident. A permanent resident can file for an unmarried son over 21, or a permanent resident can file for an unmarried son over 47, at that age 47, but a U.S. citizen could also file for the son. So it depends. But we can go through both categories for you. So a permanent resident filing for an unmarried son that is 47, immigration is working on September 2015, so you have a 7-year wait. If the mother is a U.S. citizen filing for, again, unmarried son, they're working on December 2014. Okay, so but those are the time frames right now, and I'm quoting you from the visa bulletin. The visa bulletin comes out every month. Every month the visa bulletin comes out. Okay, I know the Ashley person said, did I see the question? If you want to ask it back again, because there are a lot of questions on the feed, I'd be more than happy to answer it. If you can ask me that again. Case was approved and at the visa center. If the case was approved and at the visa center, and that when a case is approved and at the visa center, that's because the immigrant is outside the United States, processing outside the United States. The visa center is gathering documents and fees, and that process is 100% digital right now, and a lot of people are struggling with it. So our office handles a large amount of visa center cases. We'd be more than happy to set a consultation to discuss it. Because it's a pending case, it'll be a $100 consultation fee. Once that fee is paid, then we'll log in, we'll take a look at it, assess the situation, and let you know how we can help you. We'd be more than happy to help you. F1 student work off campus if they get approval from DSO. You would have, if your F1 is a student, you would have to talk to your department at your school, and they will be able to guide you better about whether you can take that job or not, on the books or off the books, okay? My case is at whoever, okay, at the embassy in Mexico. Well, if your case is at the embassy, you can send the embassy an email, go to the embassy website, and go to the immigrant visa section, get their email address, and send them an email with your case number, asking when you're going to have your interview, okay? So let's get through what we were initially talking about this afternoon, which was the backlog, okay? So if your case, and we're going to put these links on our Facebook group page, but if your case is at USCIS, meaning U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, you filed a Form I-130 and I-140 and I-765, lots of forms. This is the agency where you file forms. And you believe your case is outside of normal processing. This includes even if, like with the citizenship, you had an interview at the immigration office and you're still waiting on a decision, you're waiting on an oath ceremony, right? You had a marriage case interview, haven't heard from the officer. Then you're at USCIS, and my advice would be to submit an e-inquiry form. And anyone could do this. Again, these links will be on my Facebook group page, My U.S. Immigration Lawyer. But the website, and grab a pen and paper, the website is E as in elephant, gov.uscis.gov/e-request. And it's a form where you just put you have to have the form number that you're inquiring about, the receipt number associated with that form, your name, your address, your phone number, and your question. I had an interview, I didn't get a decision, or I submitted documents requested, I didn't get a decision, okay? Submit that e-inquiry and wait about 3 to 6 months, because that's about how long it takes. Again, I want to reiterate, immigration has 8.8 million cases outstanding and backlog. So keep that in mind. Your case is not the only case. You have company when it comes to your case being backlogged. There's just too many cases being filed, and then not enough people and adjudicating officers to look at this and make a decision, okay? If your case is at the embassy, you had an embassy interview, or like the person mentioned to me earlier, their case was in Mexico, then the best bet is to send an email to the embassy. How do you send an email to the embassy? Go to that embassy's website. Each embassy has their own website, and look up to the immigrant visa section, and you'll find an email address. Send them an email. If your case is at the Visa Center, as mentioned earlier, if your case is at the Visa Center, then they have an inquiry form. So if you haven't heard from them, they also have an inquiry form that you can complete. And again, the link for the inquiry form at the Visa Center, I will post on my Facebook group page. So you guys can look at those links and do your inquiry if you feel that your case is outside of normal processing. Again, a question about, and we're going to go back to our questions. We're going to wrap it up. It's 1:30. We do not handle asylum. And a lot of us, is it okay to visit my husband in Pakistan while we wait? While we wait on reply for I-130. That's a very case specific question. If you're already here and you overstayed, I wouldn't advise you to leave because then you'll face a ban from returning back to the US. So we will have to set a consultation. It'll be $100 supposed to get into very specifically what you're asking and why you need to leave and what you have filed. If you have an advance parole document, if you file for advance parole, then you can leave with advance parole. But that's a very case-specific question that we would have to look at. Okay? How to get stamp. Again, the asylum person question, you can call the USCIS 800 number to get that question answered. How long does a sibling immigrant visa take? Sibling immigrant visa is taking a solid 14 years right now. So to tell you specifically, immigration is issuing visas for the sibling category for petitions filed on and before March of 2007. So if you filed after March of 2007, you have to wait because they're on March of 2007 right now. So if you filed anytime after, you have to wait because they're not up to your number yet. U.S. citizen filed for your dad. He has gone to his fingerprints. What is the next step? After fingerprints, then you will get your work permit and your social security number, and then he will have an interview or his interview may be waived, okay? But U.S. citizen filing for parent is about 9 to 12 months. We do appreciate you all joining us this afternoon, and especially with your great questions. And if you have gotten deported, yes, that's $100 for that consultation. We'd be more than happy to set the consultation. So as we are wrapping up, I'm going to remind you that our office does have a free phone consultation with limited exceptions. If you have a prior filing, if you have any kind of prior criminal history or any prior immigration court case, then it's $100 for the consultation. Otherwise, you would be eligible for a free phone consultation. Call or text our office at 407-292-7730. WhatsApp us. We're on WhatsApp, 407-353-1363. Most likely, we will send you a link. You'll click that link, and you can set your own appointment time with our office. If you do set a phone consultation with our office, keep in mind we do require a photo ID, because we need to know, who you're talking to. We need to know who we are talking to. And also to guarantee attorney-client confidentiality, we need to know who we are talking to. So you will see that when you make an appointment with our office, we do require a photo ID. Well, friends, thank you again for joining live Immigration Info with me, Attorney Gail Seeram. We really enjoyed the questions. We enjoyed helping you this afternoon. Please remember to tune in every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know we just had a time change in my zone. So just, Google and see what time it is here, because we are here in Orlando, Florida, to make sure that you're on the same time zone with us. So until next time, until next week, we will say goodbye, stay safe, stay well. And again, the links for the inquiry will be on our Facebook group page, which is My U.S. Immigration Lawyer. So search for that Facebook group page, go to that page and grab the links. Again, tap your screen. Let's see the likes. If you're not following us, make sure you follow us so you can keep up to date with all of the immigration info that we try to communicate to you in the community. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.